Hey family, welcome back to the channel, and please do me a favor. Can somebody let me know if you can hear me? I just need to have somebody to let me know whether or not you can hear me before I get started, because I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste mine. Hey Tanja, Jay, welcome. So I'm not going to be long, but I want to be as exact and to the point because this California time is 8:52 and it's past my bedtime, okay? Hey, Tammy Lynn. Hey, girl. So, I know there's been a lot of information floating around about this Daejhanae Jackson being arrested or not arrested, to be or not to be, and all that drama, right? Everybody wants to know, has she been arrested? Number one, I did a story yesterday in my eagerness, I'll be honest, to get the story out there because initially, I, like a lot of other bloggers, thought, oh wow, this is great news. I saw it on a bigger channel, and then I saw the media outlet that the MetropoliMX had reported it. It looked like a actual article. So I too, posted that story that there was an arrest made. However, I am a thinking woman and I do use logic and common sense. After I kind of thought about it a little bit, I looked around. I didn't see any of the major outlets picking it up. I said, I don't know about this. Kind of scratching my head, ponder, because I removed it. So if you guys look at my channel, it's been gone since this morning because I just didn't feel right about it because I kept looking and searching. I went on the Interpol website. Of course, I listened to other bloggers. Those are resources. Those are my peers. And it just wasn't adding up. And for me, I call myself a fact finder. And if I can't find if I do my deductive reasoning and I can't find something that makes sense, then I got to back up off of it. I couldn't substantiate what we have been hearing. So I took it down. So again, everybody was going back and forth about what's an arrest. So if you are a purist and you're very technical, Interpol cannot make arrests. So I don't even need to go into all of that because I think a lot of other bloggers talked about it. So if you're being a purist and you're being very technical and you're looking at legalese and all those things, and I wasn't legal secretary, you can't say somebody was arrested when that particular agency doesn't have the ability to do it. So that in and of itself is a discrepancy. And if you're looking at law or looking at it, if you want to be official, one discrepancy can invalidate all the data. That's just how it works. So we have that issue. And then we just cannot find a reputable U.S. source claiming that this person was arrested. We were getting our information from a reporter in Mexico, not to diminish him because he has given us some information that has turned out to be valid. But when you're dealing with something as critical as an arrest in a homicide, and which Mexico classifies as a femicide, I think you want to be a little bit more exact and you want to make sure you have the facts because there's a grieving family. And I'm going to say this is not about me, but I have had 2 murders in my family, okay? So I understand the pain that this family is going through. 1 murder in my family was never resolved, okay? So I understand how important it is for families to get some resolution, to get facts, and how, at the time when it happened to us, we didn't have all these media resources. So anyway, just thinking about how I would feel and, all of the information floating around, you want to give accurate information. Is it possible Daejhanae Jackson could have been detained? Yes. We really don't know. The FBI they have levels of classification: classified, confidential, need to know. Half of the stuff we don't need to know as the public. We want to know, but it might jeopardize their case. So I don't even have a problem with the fact that we don't know everything that they're doing. Let's rest in the fact that they're doing their job. That's what we should be hoping, right? That they are doing what they need to be doing. So I don't have an issue with not knowing, every little detail of what's going on, because again, too much information in the public, as we can see, just creates misinformation and confusion and chaos. So, I talked about the sensitive nature. And the fact that we're getting information from an investigative reporter that may not have been properly vetted. Now, let me say this. If this young lady had been detained and it's under the auspices of the FBI and Interpol and all this, and they're not putting it on their website, because if you go there, if you search, it will say wanted, and you can search for people. If for some reason this information they don't deem that we need to know, it's kind of, it's peculiar that an investigative reporter would jeopardize a case like this and be divulging possibly sensitive information. I'm not going to say classified because I don't know all the classification levels of police enforcement and all that, but divulging sensitive information. The person being arrested or detained at this point, if it's not official, it's hearsay. You know, when you go to court, go look up hearsay. I'm not going to go through all the websites to define what this means. Hearsay is not fact-based. It's hearsay. Could it be true and factual? It could be, but it has not been proven to be, and there is nothing to substantiate it. Are there sources? Yes, newspapers, newsrooms, they use sources all the time, but typically a source is private and they don't want to be disclosed. They want to keep their anonymity. The fact that this particular reporter was so public and getting cash apps kind of gave me reason to scratch my head like, that might be a conflict of interest, because if you're kind of a staunch journalist, you're going to question somebody giving information and getting paid for it. Because let me tell you what, like, if I were given information on a case and I knew people were going to give me possibly thousands of dollars, I might say a whole lot of stuff that I might have heard something, but if I can't verify it or confirm it or really give you, my resource, like where a source of where I got the information, I don't know. That kind of falls flat for me. So we're going to move away from that. So again, I posted the story yesterday, but upon further thoughts, I said, nah, T, it's just not enough official sources here in the U.S. reporting this. Now, let's fast forward to tonight. So shout out to Sean Davy Way and Gigi, because I watched both of them, and it was actually on Gigi's site, Gigi Gossip Girl XOXO, where somebody in the chat said, hey, they just, because I've been going to the site, see, because the MetropoliMX said that they were going to update the report yesterday about Daejhanae's alleged arrest. However, nothing ever happened. So today I've been, trying to see it. The people have been reporting that the site was up and down, and I've been checking, and somebody said, hey, go check it out. It looks like they changed the story. So that's what we're going to look at right now. All this information that has been floating out there, people have been vouching for Gerardo Zuniga. And understand, I don't know if he's telling the truth. I have no idea. But what we do know is that it hasn't been officially announced. So for us to say, like, this is legitimate and make it fact-based, I don't think we can do that. Can we say it's been reported? That's totally different than saying she has been. That's a factual statement, affirmative. We can't say that because, well, you could say it, but you don't know it to be a fact. So anyway, okay, you guys are seeing, you can hear me, and I'm talking loud because sometimes on my laptop, the sound is not good. So anyway, let's just go to the site, and we're just gonna look at this real quick, and then you draw your own conclusions. Let's see. And you guys, please let me know if you can see it. Okay, so this is the MetropoliMX site, and this is where one of the references that Gerardo Zuniga, the investigative reporter that has been breaking some of this, and I do believe that some of his references previously have been credible because they've panned out to be true. But again, with an arrest, when you're stating that an arrest has been made, he may have some sources, but I just don't think we're able to confirm it at this point. But anyway, so this is what was reported yesterday. Well, okay, so I click on it. Let's see. I'm trying to get to what, okay, let's see. And the site is a little clunky right now. It looks like they've been updating these stories. So it says breaking news. This was yesterday, November 29th. Daejhanae Jackson arrested in the United States. This article came out. Gerardo Zuniga, he was on multiple platforms saying, affirming that she had been arrested per his sources. He never said detained. He never said in custody. I think everybody was assuming that she was arrested. We didn't see anything on Interpol. We didn't see any official U.S. information. We didn't see the North Carolina FBI location state anything. We saw nothing. We heard one person telling us what had happened, which is not necessarily good. Because if you think about it, a lot of the bigger news outlets, they have a lot of resources. They have in their newsrooms, they have multiple people who have connects. They can call places. They work around the clock. A newsroom is typically open 24/7. So I would think that at least one U.S., if somebody leaked it to him, I would just think that, and if it happened in the U.S. here in where we are, somebody would have leaked it to one of our stations here. That was just me thinking. But anyway, so he says breaking news. This is article breaking news. Daejhanae Jackson arrested in the United States. They said during the night of the 28th, she was arrested by Interpol agents. Well, we later, find out that they really don't have the ability to arrest. So that's the first problem. But now let's fast forward. Let me go back to what is on the site today. That was November 29th, yesterday, when it created all the stir for us. The latest news from Daejhanae Jackson. Oh, now it's saying there's an error establishing the database. It might be crashing because so many people are trying to pull this up right now. But, okay, let's see. So this is as of today. The latest news from Daejhanae Jackson. The last physical location of the material author of Shanquella Robinson's crime was in Connecticut, in the northwest of the U.S. So that's kind of ambiguous. The last physical location of the material author of Shanquella Robinson's crime was in Connecticut. So they're saying that's the last location they knew her to be. That's not saying she was arrested. So let's get into this. San Jose del Cabo, Baja California, sir. The Attorney General's Office of the State of Baja California, sir, presented on November 21st the request for the arrest warrant of Daejhanae Jackson. And I'm kind of speed reading through this. For extradition purposes, in order to be tried for the crime of femicide of the young Shanquella Robinson, which occurred on October 29th in a condominium in Cabo Villas. The arrest warrant, according to data collected by MetropoliMX, was presented to the Attorney General's Office, FGR, and who in turn handed over the request to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, blah, blah. Okay. Since last November 21st, Daejhanae Jackson has been considered a fugitive. In the U.S., I never saw her listed as a fugitive, but okay. Considered a fugitive from Mexican justice after a control judge issued an arrest warrant against her in this municipal capital of Los Cabos. Okay, so I guess they're saying in their country, she's considered a fugitive. The material author of the 25-year-old's crime, according to evidence and testimonies obtained by the public prosecutor's office agent, points to Daejhanae Jackson. That's another point. There have been this back and forth about this second video. There is a second video. That second video allegedly is possibly Elise or one of the women confronting Daejhanae, asking her to stop or trying to intervene. The first video that we have been referencing as Winter grabbing Daejhanae by the neck and flinging her is actually, Winter is actually Daejhanae. I think they got it confused because and then you hear Shanquella's father say that She was flung to the floor. Somebody grabbed her around the neck, flung her to the floor, and she never gets up. That's exactly what we see in that video. However, we have been hearing that it was Winter Donovan, that there was another video. So it's like we saw one video with Daejhanae, but we heard it was another person. No, it's one video, and it's the one in which we see Daejhanae grab Shanquella around the neck, fling her, throw her to the ground. She sits there, she bends her head. We never see her get up. So when they say she never gets up, that's what we see. And so that is what is in the video. Now, did she pass right then and there? Probably not. But did that cause her to sustain some injuries? It sounds like it. So anyway, I just want to clarify that. And it says unofficially, MetropoliMX was informed that Daejhanae Jackson would have been arrested on the night of the 28th when she was in a relative's home. See, now they're backtracking. That's recanting something. Yesterday, it was an affirmative arrest. Now, let's say this. Is it possible that something happened with Daejhanae? Possibly. But now they are telling us unofficially, MetropoliMX was informed. So we heard hearsay that Daejhanae would have been, could have been arrested on the night of November 28th when she was in a relative's home. So now this is not fact-based. Now we're kind of dancing around again. So you if we are to believe this source, they're telling us this is not an affirmative arrest here. It's unofficial hearsay. Would have been arrested. Could have been, would have been. That's ambiguous to me. So the fugitive from Mexican justice would have traveled about 718 miles, traveling from Charlotte to Connecticut. It was right at that point where it was located for the first time. The article goes on to say, now this is interesting as well. Both the United States and Mexico governments are absolutely secrecy, they mean in secret, about the arrest of Daejhanae Jackson. So if the Mexican government or officials and the U.S. are in secrecy, why do we have a public person being so forthcoming and giving over information? Couldn't that jeopardize the case or something? I mean, I'm just asking. I don't know. But that would seem strange to me. People do leak information all the time. But do they do it so publicly? And then when you start talking about cash apps, then that's a whole nother ball of wax. Because now we just doing, hey, you guys draw your own conclusions. No government has denied or confirmed the arrest. There you go. So neither government has denied or confirmed the arrest to avoid violating the due process of extradition from the United States to Mexico. So even this little statement right here, I have a problem with it, because you're saying that the government has not denied or confirmed the arrest to avoid violating due process. So when somebody comes forward and gives information that they shouldn't be giving publicly, are you violating due process? Are you interfering with due process? Possibly. So this is crazy. So again, no government has denied or confirmed the arrest to avoid violating the due process of extradition from the United States to Mexico. On this day, MetropoliMX was informed that Daejhanae was admitted to a service center in the United States without obtaining further details of the location. They're saying admitted, so the verbiage is changing now. Excuse me. So now we don't necessarily have an arrest. We maybe have the person was detained. I mean, the young woman would have been under protection, waiting to be extradited to Mexico in 2 or 3 weeks. MetropoliMX prepares a special report in which it will reveal in detail, step by step, how the crime of... Okay, so again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time regurgitating stuff, because people will believe what they want to believe. The information, you can go look at the report that they presented yesterday, and you can look at what's presented today, which is what most of us based our information on, and decide for yourself. Has Daejhanae Jackson been arrested? I don't know.